Hey, Weekly Walk viewers. Greetings from Artist Point in Yellowstone. Here you go. Most famous, I've been told this is the most painted view of Yellowstone. So here, Alex Bilmes and I, VP of Growth at Puppet, are strolling through. Alex, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Your
And
first trip to Yellowstone.
I know I've been wanting to go for quite some time, so this is almost as good as being there, I'm sure.
Oh, it's basically it's a weekly walk and Yellowstone. You could truly not ask for more. And we've got to give a shout out to Yvonne, your CEO,
Yep.
because without her, we would not be here right now. So hey, Yvonne, love you, miss you. All right, so I would love, before I dive into my three questions, would love to hear a little bit about your role at Puppet, because it's a little bit unique in that you sort of are running a startup within Puppet. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I'm the VP of Growth at Puppet, which means a number of different things, a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of product management, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of design, a little bit of all the things. And per the point you made, we're building a really cool new thing at Puppet called Relay, which is a event-driven automation platform. And it's very focused on product-led growth, which is one of the reasons I was excited to chat with you.
Awesome. I didn't even tell you to say product-led growth. Thank you.
Hey, I'm a big proponent, and
I know you are.
yeah. And one other thing, I actually had a product-led growth company prior to joining Puppet. I came in through acquisition, so
Yeah.
a lot of fun there.
Awesome. All right. So let's dive into these really tough questions
All right, let's
I
do
came
it.
up for you. You ready? All right. So you have a design background,
Yeah.
which I feel like, for OpenView, we talk a lot about product-led growth. We talk to a lot of product leaders. We started talking to engineers. We don't have historically not talked to a lot of designers. And
Mhm.
here you are by background, a designer. So why do you think having a design background has made you successful as both, a growth leader, but then, as what you had just alluded to, you are, a founder and CEO. So what has being a designer, why have you been so successful?
Yeah. Well, I'll answer those a little bit differently. There's some
Okay.
similarities, but I'll start with the founder CEO piece. I guess if you're building software, the most important thing, especially in earlier stages, is building software that people really want to use. If
Yep.
you're trying to compete with companies that have really big sales teams that are really expensive, you're likely not going to outsell in early stages. So being able to differentiate and compete based on the quality of your product, I think is really, really key. You all call that product-led growth. I used to call it building software that doesn't suck. So I think that's it's an advantage for a designer who is able to really create the quality of the experiences necessary to be able to be successful in the early stages of a company's development. Now, on the growth side, it's a little bit different, but there are some similarities there as well. So growth is really about understanding how the various parts of the customer journey flow together. A lot of
Mhm.
growth leaders tend to think about things very quantitatively, which is great. You need that sort of quant lens to be able to see where things are falling down and where customers are struggling. I think the designer lens gives you the ability to have a strong qualitative perspective, which is this is what customers want.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the quant side, you see what the problems are, or at least where people are falling down, but it's really difficult to figure out why. And that
Yeah.
qualitative lens, I think, is key. And so designers, I think, tend to make really good growth leaders if they're data driven and go to market driven.
Yeah. Makes sense. Hopefully you'll spur that we need to talk more about designers and do more for designers
Oh,
at
100%.
OpenView. I want to do a product leader, a design leader, and an engineer all walk into a bar. What happens?
I'll have to think
Yeah.
about that one,
Think
but there are a few ways that could go.
we'll
All of them in my mind right now are good to great.
okay, perfect. We'll do that. We'll do that over drinks on the next weekly walk.
Let's
Hold
do
on,
it.
we'll get into that one. All right, next question for you. You advise a ton of companies.
Mhm.
You've been the founder and you've been those startup founder and CEO. What are the biggest mistakes that you have seen founders and CEOs make as they build out their go-to-market strategy, or that maybe you made and learned from that's helped you,
Casey,
advise?
I've never made any mistakes. I don't know
I mean, I
why.
know. I'm
I don't know
sorry.
why I would assume that I've made mistakes in my
I know.
career.
I'm sorry. That was not right of me.
No,
Forgive
no,
me.
no, no. Good question. For me, I think the biggest challenge was also understanding what is stage appropriate. So when you're starting a company, me as a designer, I spent a lot of time building the perfect go-to-market strategy. I built these beautiful funnels as a designer that you tend to build, and they were absolutely amazing. People would look at these and say, wow, this is incredible. Didn't really work very well. And understanding that, I think in the early days, when you're going from 0 to 10 in terms of customer count, it's just about founder selling. It's not about strategy. It's about leveraging your relationships. It's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of promising things to people that you want to come through on, and back massages. Now it's virtual back massages, but
Yeah,
you're really
yeah.
trying to get those first customers through the door. And then, 10 to 20 customers looks a little bit different. When you hire your first VP of sales, if you're 1 million to 5 million in revenue, it looks very different than the VP of sales that you would hire, as an example, if you're doing 50 or 100 million in revenue. And I think a lot of founders conflate sometimes the vision of where they want to go with the step one in terms of how to get there. And I'd say I straddled too much too early, and it's easier to straddle if you're a large company. It's not really straddling. You get to do a lot of different things, but early on, just being super stage appropriate, I think is really, really key.
Kind of key. That's awesome. Right. And my toughest final question for you, I have to ask. You work at Puppet.
Yep.
You might get this. I don't know if you puppeteers get this a lot. What is your favorite puppet or character? I suppose I don't want to limit you to like just a puppet, but
I've not gotten that question before, but
okay.
I do have a puppet that comes to mind, and it's definitively Oscar.
Okay.
Oscar has the Grouch, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Have
got
you
a
met
very
me? Like I'm not very grouchy. So.
well. I'm a little bit grouchy, but don't tell anyone. Oscar's got this sort of misanthropic edge and personality, and I also love cookies, so there's that.
Okay. So it's a win-win.
Yeah.
I can't believe you being a puppet, you don't get that question much. You might.
I should. I know.
You
There's
guys
something wrong.
should. Maybe I've just opened a whole can of worms or cookies for you. You don't know. So Alex, awesome. Thank you for being here. I hope you get to Yellowstone in person at some point. You're not too far away. So I have faith in you. And Weekly Walk viewers, thanks for watching. We'll see y'all soon. Bye guys.